never pray to God anymore. I'd rather no one hurt me. Redemption, I have waited for you to come and drown all my sin. My knees are drenched in the blood I spill just to get in. When I look around me, everything I had went up in flames. Everything I had went up in flames. My lonely way.
Hello everyone, we are back at it. Well, I'm gonna start. Wait, what do I usually have tomorrow? Yeah, I usually have a BS. Okay, so yeah, how was you all been? Yeah, just had the exam, so yeah, pretty chill, pretty cool. Think I passed by the hair, but that's alright. Cause today, oh, that's right. Outside of stream, I finish kind of like more or less my website, so we can and I literally finish off the freaking game. So right now, and I got a cloud storage service so that I can have the game there. So if I click download, what happens? Okay, it takes me to the website. Doesn't download it straight away, I guess. Okay. Well, that'll be interesting. But today I want to make sure, right, the reason we couldn't package it because it failed after the first time was because the SDK, there was a problem with the SDK. Well, first thing first, I changed version from 5.7 to 4.6, and then I had to update the SDK. But then, even though I updated from Unreal Editor, it still pop up the warning that freaking you don't have SDK editor updated. But then I packaged it anyway, didn't work. I installed it again, which means restart the engine. Then I restarted my laptop, and when I try packaging again, I got the warning, but then I packaged it well, and I could upload it and download it and play it. What I didn't try it was like downloading the game in at my university and try one of like those PCs. If that works there, I guess it works anywhere, which is awesome. And oh, I also revamped the Q key to the escape. So yeah, that'll be pretty cool. Actually, let me play it right now. So we got Windows, we got a little logo, we got the exit. Let's just say we downloaded this from. I can't show it because it's on the other screen. Great. How would I do this? I can't. We need to. Well, if I press start, it moves. If I press escape, it pops out the menu, and then if I press quit, it quits. So yeah, nothing too impressive. But today, well, actually, it was yesterday that we did day 2, and today it's day 3. No, wait, we go by hours actually. So in day 2, we should spend 8 hours working on it. We barely need 3 hours and 3 hours and 40 minutes. So we have left. Oh no, wait, that's 2 hours and 30 minutes. Oh damn, bro. Okay, we have 5 hours left. And what's the time right now? Damn. Okay. Give it a go then. So we have 5 hours left. And we are going to try at 21, 14. What are we going to try out this time though? I think we still need to do all these steps again, but this time what we are going to try is configure settings for 2D, and we also need to test them. We got the template more or less, which actually we need to edit it once more. And I am also going to, because we have time right now, go a bit slower and map out every step and then document it so that I don't have to be watching the video over and over. So that would mean I probably should do that in Excalibur, right? Oh, but Excalibur is available online, isn't it? Excalibur. I don't know if this is smart though. Should I use an Obsidian Excalibur or should I keep it online? I think I should keep it online. That way I can pair it with Notion. Wait, is that integration with Excalibur and Notion? Maybe. Export preferences. Yeah, I'm not too sure about this one though. Export image. We can always export it or save it. Save to shareable link. Excalibur Plus. Save the scene to your Excalibur Plus workspace. Scene data to a file from which you can import later. Okay. Okay. But then that file we could upload it to Notion, maybe. Or the link. Could we upload the link though? I'm not sure. Let's just do it here though. And then we're not hiding. There we go. And then let's do the templates, right? No, wait. I also wanted to watch a video about blueprints. I don't know which one to choose. Maybe watch cover. No, wait. It's gotta be the newest one, right? Spawn acto. I'm not sure. Oh, Coraco, Smart Poly. We're definitely learning 2D. But they got to basic to advanced techniques. Maybe this one. It's 11 months old, which is way better. Okay, I don't really want to follow a course. Oh, that's where we are starting. That's where we're going. I just wanted to like get into the technical aspect of it, you know, like straight away. I guess so. Yeah, I think we should do that. Was that years old though? It might be outdated. I like this one though, the one that said from basics to advanced techniques. Yeah, we are not gonna watch this one. And we, oh right, also first things first, I need to, this for 2D, or optimize the game till it doesn't work, because we gotta keep optimizing it. I know we have a template, we actually need to change it because we need to include all of the packaging from the 2D to how to package and export. There were a few settings that were included here, so we have to follow this one as well and include it in the template. And so this is a must have. I'm gonna place it here. Image self. Start menu. Yep, settings. Within game pause escape. Are these all link to something? They are, right? Yeah, they're linked to a project, right? Oh, this is the main one. Yeah, we have projects, and from projects, we can link certain features, right? What is this? No, I know it's a call out. I mean, what? Where's my table, bro? Can't really select them. But this is a project. Yeah, I've got features. There's just a relation between them. So when we click into this project, we are okay. I'm just being shown a view from freaking features database. Okay. So we need a compile game round 1 day 1 accomplished. We began. This took how long did it took? 5 hours to be exact. And then we did plus how many hours on day 2? No, I don't want to edit the name. I want to open it up. There we go. We did 2 hours and 40 minutes. Okay. 2 hours and 40 minutes plus 2 hours 40 minutes. That gives us 7 hours and 40 minutes. Damn, that took us a while to do, bro. And we were supposed to do an hour. That's insane. Well, oh wait, the timer already. We just lost 6 minutes doing this. Whatever. Okay, so day 1 is closed. Should like archive it, you know? Yeah. So in projects, let's add a new property. We're gonna call it archived, and it's gonna be a checkbox. Where's the checkbox? Here it is. There we go. And so, or do we list all of the projects? Well, another setting that we need is created time. Created time, let's edit it. Created time, which means we can organize this view by created time. And we just put the newest first. Awesome. Oh, and also let's limit to 10. Cool. Cool. I don't think we need this size that much, you know? Gonna add the pages here. Oh, then we just shrink it. And I also want to add like a note, you know, that we don't have it here. And I'm not even sure what this is doing right now. What notes did I took here? Probably want to see by disabling unused features. Oh, okay, there was the features prompt. Okay. Yeah. And this is to create separate versions, and then these are the recommended features I should disable. Now I'm gonna guess this is one feature, Nanite. This is a second feature, Lumen, because I got the commas, you know, which means I should disable this too, and here I should disable this too, and I'm pretty sure. Oh, and here we should disable this for features, which, you know, should make it way lighter, and that's gonna be awesome. And also I'm gonna also look into, oh no way, but freaking Cora code didn't like just said like disable this one, and then you go on your own and try to do it. Do know I might break project. Thing is, I don't know if by selling all the plugins, the project is going to break or the engine is going to break. And then I'll have to like reinstall the engine all over again. Hopefully it's not that, and it only affects the project. Which, if we create a new project, a new blank one, and there's none of our previous configuration, that will literally mean that if we disable plugins and it breaks, it'll only break the project. Okay. A bit more reassured. Oh no, wait, we could just ask the assistant actually. Good evening. Oops. Good evening. How are you? So, what else? If I were to disable many plugins in Unreal Engine to optimize it for 2D game dev, the game might break and Unreal might not open, as some plugins are essential for the functionality of Unreal Engine. My question is, does this only affect Unreal the project, or does it affect Unreal Engine or Unreal Engine editor? And I would have to reinstall Unreal Engine. There we go. Whew. Disable plugins generally through plugins window affects only the specific project, not the entire Unreal Engine installation. Essential plugins required by the editor itself cannot be fully disabled without risking project instability. Yeah, by doing so will not break the engine globally or require reinstallation. Okay. Plugins are enabled disabled on a per project basis via edit plugins. Okay, that's awesome. Single plugins simple on the current project. Essential engine plugins are protected and usually cannot be fully disabled. If you disable too many plugins crucial for your project, the project might break or fail to open, but the engine editor remains unaffected for other projects. To optimize for 2D game development, safely disable non-essential plugins in your project without worrying about reinstalling Unreal Engine. Okay. So the question is, how many plugins are essential for a 2D game to run in Unreal Editor Engine? For a 2D game in Unreal Engine, you need essential plugins. You need Paper 2D, Flipbook, Tile Asset, Talmasa, and associated editors for building 2D, and associated editors for building 2D gameplay animation. Additionally, depending on 2D project scope, consider this optional but useful plugin. Gameplay plus D, state tree, enhancing input, Niagara. Visual effects, particle effects, another input handling over legacy input systems. Oh, and there are also plugins that make so the packaging is lighter. So if I disable, it's gonna make the packaging larger. Oh, that's the tough one. Safely, if they're unrelated to your project, needs to wait. So basically, I could just run how many? 1, 2, 3, 4. And associated editors for building 2D gameplay and animation. You didn't specify to me. Please specify the exact number of plugins needed. Also, expand on this sentence you previously provided so kindly. No, we're not confused. Sent. Awesome. Let's see. For a minute 2D game project, not only index a number of essential plugins. One plugin. No way. So I could just sell all what 400 plugins, I think there are. Okay. Yeah. Sure. From all of the plugins. Expanded explanation. Associated editors for building 2D gameplay and animation. PP2Z plugin includes several specialized editors that integrate tightly into the Unreal editor to help create RF and 2D assets and gameplay elements used to create and edit individual 2D sprites. Flipbook, tileset, tilemap. Together, these editors enable the elimination of manual workflow steps by providing dedicated tools. Summary: total essential plugins 1. Bro, you're lying. When I disable everything except Paper 2D, and it's gonna break. I bet you it's gonna break. No. Another way of creating 2D, 3D. That's a YouTube video, isn't it? No, it's from probably it's a private system for creating 2D, 3D kind of. Yeah, sure. And what are the essential plugins for Unreal Editor? For Unreal Editor. Yeah, let's go with that, I guess. For it not to break. Oh no. What are the essential plugins for Unreal Editor so that it doesn't break? That way. Never mind. Unreal Editor relies on a built-in core set of essential plugins and modules that enable its baseline functionality. Or built-in core, you see? And that's how we can even further optimize it by what? Making, I mean, there are companies that edit the core code of Unreal Engine so that it works better for their game. And I'm pretty sure we can disable a lot of stuff from there, making it way more efficient, including asset editor, rendering, and content workflows. But this is the Unreal Editor. Okay. It's managed internally by the engine, cannot be fully disabled by users. Ensure the editor starts operates correctly. Epic Games does not provide public explicit list or exact number of these non-disabled plugins, but they include critical suggestions. Okay. Editor has an... Okay, so we should be able to disable all the plugins? But then if we disable all the plugins, we might have a few issues with following maybe a few tutorials, maybe. Oh, but then we could just enable them, couldn't we? Okay. Okay, so what? Try to make the same game? No, we're not gonna try and make a same game. I mean, it's gonna be more or less the same, but we're gonna add the settings to the main menu. We have to get window, a resolution. No, screen size. No, we could try and get both, I guess. But we actually do them from not following a video necessarily. I think following code maybe. But before that, we actually need to learn watch one of those that one YouTube video we just had. This one. But first, plugins, I guess, right? And we could get a template before these 5 hours before we finish up with day 2. That would be awesome. And so let's watch the video. No, wait, we were talking with Unreal. Oh, it's time to open Unreal, I guess. Alright. And we need to follow the packagings. Yep, that's what we need to do right now. Okay. Epic Games Launcher. No, you stay there. Oops. Okay. Now we go to library. I am so confused right now. A new project. Oh, we just launched the engine. Gosh, I'm slow. Do we launch it? I did click it. I think it's loading. Yeah, there we go. Okay, awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Awesome. Oh my gosh, taking a long time to load. Oh well. Start watching the video, right? Or let's like load up a few of the others. No, I wanna start it from the beginning though. So yeah, let's watch this one.
Unreal Engine 5 in no time. In just 3 hours, I'll take you from a complete beginner to an expert level. In this series, we'll start with the basics, such as installation and navigation, and progressively move to more advanced topics. By the end, you'll be able to create and optimize stunning scenes. Here's what you'll learn: setting up and navigating Unreal Engine 5, blocking out scenes, utilizing levels and Megascan libraries, exploring nanite technology,
Epic Games Launcher interface. Oh my gosh, you're playing half an hour on that.
Thank you for joining me in this lesson.
Okay.
Like this.
Oh damn, you actually
Even most professional project manually. For example, if I want to make a third-person game, this template already has some assets and settings enabled for me. You can describe this template's operations and enabled settings here. You can also enable some other settings for yourself here. For example, you can choose between using Blueprint or C++ for your programming language. Blueprint is a programming language in Unreal Engine that doesn't require you to write code. Instead of writing code in a program like C++, you create your code using visual graphs. We can also enable some other settings here. For now, I will go to the Film, Video and Live Events tab and choose a blank template to create an environment for cinematic perspectives. However, the process is this blank template to create an environment. I will go to the Film, Video and Live Events tab and choose a blank template to create an environment for cinematic perspectives.
Okay.
However,
that's another thing. Unreal Engine is for all of these other ones, which means I just the same, right? There's no like extra content needed to work on this ones.
Also, every project is a copy of the engine, so using a blank template for the project will reduce the size since we don't add unnecessary assets and settings to the project. In this section, we have 2 options available. Starting content environment. Ray tracing is an specially designed with dedicated tracing on basics. Simply choose more complex features. I'm going to call this project Chapter 1, and let's create it. Usually,
Okay.
when we start a new project or open a project for the first time on your computer, it takes a bit more time to start because the engine
Okay.
loads all of the assets and shaders
No
that enable
brain.
real-time rendering. So don't
Desktop.
worry if it seems like it's taking some time. Interface. So, let us start with the interface. We are inside of the Unreal Engine, and let's talk about the interface. At first glance, it seems very intimidating. There are so many buttons, options, and windows in this interface. Do we need to know everything about it? Absolutely not. We need just to know the options that we need. Even most professionals don't know all of the options and windows in this interface. They just know what they have to know. Let's just focus on the fundamentals. As you become more advanced, you will learn more about all of these windows and options located here. As you can see in this corner, we are in the Chapter 1 project we made. Also, here we see we are on a startup level called main. The levels and the project we are working on, from saving to exporting and all other options. It's always good to know the shortcut for each of these items. For example, as we are going to build our scene inside Unreal Engine, we have to save our modifications within this level. So, Ctrl+S will save all of our modifications at our level. Throughout this training, we will save our changes again and again by holding the Ctrl and S buttons on the keyboard. Ctrl+Shift+S is going to save any changes that we made anywhere in the project, which is very handy as well. Also, under Edit, you will find all the usual editing options, including copy, paste, duplicate,
Wait,
and delete.
I can do save all.
In other software, like Ctrl+C for copy, Ctrl+V for paste, and Ctrl+T for duplicate. So it's pretty similar to other software you are familiar with. Another tab here is Windows. If you are missing anything inside of the interface or want to access a missing window, you can activate or deactivate it here. For example, here I have my levels window.
Oh my
Close it.
god, my Wi-Fi is
Bring it back to the
dead.
tab. We will use and discuss the rest of the tabs on the bar as we get more advanced. Another important window that we have to discuss here is the content drawer. As you can see,
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
you can access.
Oh my gosh.
Also, because this is very useful and we will use it a lot, we can bring it back with Control Spacebar. What is the content drawer? The content drawer is going to be like our
Damn.
Explorer in Windows. It's going to show us all the content that we have inside the engine. By content, I mean all of the materials to the objects. Everything that we are bringing inside the Unreal Engine will be shown in our content drawer.
Okay.
Right now, we have two folders here, content and engine. The content folder is for all of the 3D models and everything we will bring into the project. We are going to make our project in the content folder. Right now,
Yeah.
you see two files in my content folder, which are related to what's called main level. Essentially, the main level that we are seeing in the viewport right now is an asset by itself inside my
I
content
don't know a bit
The engine
of
folder is all of the behind the scenes content. The engine folder contains all the default shapes, materials, and lighting related to how the engine runs.
Yeah.
Since the content drawer is very useful and important, we can dock it to the layout. This means we will always have it shown here if we choose to.
Yep.
Also, we can move it and put it in another area of the screen, or even dock
Oh
it
my
to the side
contents, yeah.
and bring it from the side if we want to have it by our side. Let's just close it for now, and we can always bring it back from here. But let's go to the right side of the screen, where we have multiple windows. The most important one here is the outliner. What is the outliner? Every actor that we put inside of the level is going to be shown here. What do I mean by actor? Everything inside the Unreal Engine is an actor, for example. From the object
This
we
one,
put here,
right?
we put here. All of them are actors
Yeah.
that we put inside a level. From now on, when I say actor, I mean any element that I'm moving around or
I don't know how my stream is doing. Well, this is my laptop. It's not the Wi-Fi that's causing this.
Organize them. For example, I will select all of my lighting stuff items. Right click, go to move to, and create a new folder to organize them. Now I can turn on and off all of my lighting items. Also, if I hit F2, I can rename this folder. It is very important to keep your outliner clean and organized, because as this project progresses, you will get many items and actors inside of a level. and it will be
Okay.
difficult to find them if you don't have a good organization here. So try to use a good organization system, so you can be able to find your items here easily. Also, I can select some of the items and delete them if I don't need them. Another important tab here is Detail. If I select anything from the viewport or something from the outliner, I can get all of the properties related to that actor inside of the Detail section. For example, in the Transform section, I get the location, rotation, and scale information. Since I picked the floor here, and it is a 3D mesh, the static mesh and material sections of its details will show me a mesh and a material applied to that mesh. As I said, everything inside a level is located somewhere in the content drawer. So, if I want to see where this floor is located inside my content drawer, there is an option here to browse and take me to where this floor is located inside the content browser. If I click this, you see that the floor is inside the folder inside the engine content in my content drawer. If you are new to 3D modeling and mesh and material seem strange, a mesh is essentially the skeleton or framework of a 3D object made up of vertices, edges, and faces that define its shape. Think of it like a wireframe model of something from the real world, such as a chair or a car. Now, to make this mesh look realistic, it needs a material. Materials are like the skin that wraps around the mesh. They can be shiny, matte, rough, or smooth, and give the object color and texture. Speaking of textures, these are
No, but this in I sent this supposedly for
material. For
blueprints.
example, a texture might make a flat red material look like real brick, or bumpy and irregular like an orange peel. Therefore, the relationship between a mesh, material, and textures is essential in building realistic 3D. Other windows here, levels that right now are going to control our levels and our sub-levels that I'm going to talk about in the next lesson, and world setting, which is going to give us a lot of control over the settings of the current level that we are working on. So, let's return here on the main level I showed you inside the content browser. If I want to find where it's located inside the content browser, I can simply hit this, and it will show me where it's located inside the content browser. As you can see,
There was this option for using like default docs.
Which will save every item that you made changes to and are currently selected in
Yeah,
the
exactly.
You can right click and save it from here. If you make changes to a level, you can save it from here as well. Right now, you see that we are in selection mode. We also have some other modes, and there are some shortcuts for them. If you go to landscape mode, foliage mode, or modeling mode, it will give you some other options related to that specific mode. For example, in modeling mode, you get many options for 3D modeling an object inside of the Unreal Engine, or in landscape mode, you will get some options around how to make an object inside of your level. Let's go to selection mode.
No, I don't find it.
When we need other tools, we switch to different
Why?
modes. The button here is quickly add to project, which will
No, it's not gonna be in tools. It's not gonna be in editing. It's definitely window.
into the scene.
I thought they were gonna be more layout
Before you
options.
drag and drop it into the scene, you will become familiar with many other options as we progress through this training. Essentially, many items located inside Unreal Engine are accessible
Yeah.
through other methods as well. but quickly add the project is a way for us to quickly find the object we're looking for and add it to the level.
Okay.
Before we jump to the main window in the middle, our viewport, let's also talk about some organizational techniques. Here, you can dock all of these to the sidebar.
And modular design and engine optimization. Let's see.
We'll explore the Quixel Megascan library to learn how to create larger structures using modular pieces. By the end, you'll be able to efficiently use Nanite assets and modular design to create detailed environments. Let's get started. I have already gone to Quixel Megascan library, so I can find.
Okay. So, okay, it's not gonna optimize it. It's gonna optimize the use of what?
I'll call it modular design. Now let's
modular.
focus on our objects. I can easily make a copy by holding.
Yeah. Okay. Doing that. We're gonna do that. We're gonna choose 3D scenes. Nope. Pattern. That's game. What's it? I need to import this guy in props, assets. Wait, you don't.
As I selected this, I noticed that the gizmo was not.
You're not doing any blueprints. I told you. I specifically type blueprint tutorial. What the heck, bruh? YouTube. Damn. Look what I type. Tutorial blueprints. What do we get? People also watched. Okay, fine. Fair enough. When was this published? 2 years ago. Damn. Oh, damn, there. Oh, damn. Okay. I wanna guess when I watched Smart Poly 2 years ago, right? We're gonna some little learn blueprints in 30 minutes. Ooh. 30 minutes. 3 hours. 2023. Oh gosh. I know that Korako explains well. Let's hope this guy explains well as well.
Alright guys, now we're going to learn blueprints. What exactly are they, why do you need them, and how you can use them to basically add functionality to your game. We're going to be covering everything from scratch, so it's going to be relatively straightforward. Let's go ahead and save everything in this project first, and then I'm going to basically close this project out, and we're going to create a new project. So let me just close everything, and then we can open Unreal Engine again. So the reason I want to create a project is because so that we can basically have a first-person template, which will come with some pre-made blueprints. It's just going to be easier for you guys to understand blueprints. So let's go to games, and let's get a first-person template. Make sure to set the variant to Arena Shooter, because if you
oh wait, we're supposed to take notes as well.
Follow along. Select Arena Shooter. Quality preset, I'm going to set it to maximum. Target platform is desktop, and make sure to set it to blueprints. You can call it whatever you want. I'm just going to call this Unreal Engine Beginner. Also, by the way, if you're watching this video on YouTube, this video is a part of a full course in which we learn Unreal Engine from scratch, and we learn how to make a very good-looking FPS game. So be sure to check it out. The link is going to be in the description. But yeah, with that out of the way, let's go ahead and create this project. And create. Perfect. And I'm just going to wait for it to open. Then I'll see you guys. So you can see this is what we have. This is a project. And this is not really the level that we want to go into. So we're going to go into Variant Shooter, and then we're going to go to Level Arena Shooter. So if you open this level, it's going to send us to the level that we actually want to be in. So now, what exactly this is? It's a pre-made game for you guys. If I just click play, you're going to see that we're just going to be like this first-person character inside this world, and weapons. So this is a jump pad. We can jump. We can go and get weapons from here, and then you can shoot your AI enemies, and basically they're going to die. And it's essentially a pre-made game for you.
Wow.
It's a template. It's a pre-made blueprint which you guys can use to build upon and create your own game. So that's the idea of this. We're going to be using this template to understand some basics of blueprints and how blueprints work. So what blueprints are is that blueprints are essentially a way to sort of program your game or code your game in a visual way. So you can think of blueprints as coding or adding logic to your game, adding functionality to your game, but in a visual node-based workflow. So let me give you an example of how blueprints work. So you can see that we have a blueprints folder. If you open this, you can see that we have a couple of folders here. So let's go to first person, and let's open our first person BP_FP shooter. Now what this is that this is basically the character that we had. If I go to viewport, you can see that
this BB as a blueprint.
And we have these different sort of tabs where we have some code which does various tasks. So you can see that it's a node-based workflow. Everything is basically nodes connected to each other, and it is going to be super intimidating for you guys. I know it was extremely intimidating for me as well, just seeing all this stuff at once. It's just super. It just looks like it's difficult. However, I want you guys to trust me when you're actually building stuff. It's super intuitive and it's way better than coding. It's much easier than coding, and I think you can get stuff done pretty fast and like pretty easily compared to actual C++ coding. So this is what blueprint looks like. I just wanted to show you guys how it works and how it looks. Now we can cross this out and we can create our very own blueprint from scratch, and we can implement a functionality of, let's say, opening a door, for example. Okay. So let's go back to our content. In fact, let's go to Variant Shooter, and then let's go to blueprints, and here we can create our own blueprint from scratch. So let's right click anywhere, and then we can select blueprint class right there, and then you have a whole bunch of different blueprint types. We're going to be selecting actor for now. Actors are basically any objects that are in your scene that perform a certain task, so they're called blueprint actors. And pawns are actors that can be possessed and that you can control as a player. Characters are also similar. They have the ability to walk around. It says right there. Then you have their controller, game mode base, and a whole bunch of different other classes, which we're not going to be covering for now. We're going to go over them later on. So let's go ahead and add the most simple version of a blueprint. And I'm just going to name this door. Alright, so this is Nothing from the Future, and I was actually editing this video when I realized that the concept of blueprint actors could be explained a bit better. So I'm going to try again, and I'm going to give you guys a better understanding of what an actor is in blueprints. So an actor is pretty much any object that you can place in your scene, and what blueprint actors are is that it's a special kind of actor which has any logic attached to it. So for example, think of it as a statue of a character versus a character that can actually move, that can actually be played by the player, or it can perform certain tasks. So that would make it a blueprint actor as opposed to like a regular actor. Actors can have different elements inside of them. So let's say actors can have a static mesh inside of them, which is going to just appear in the game, or they can have like a collision box, for example, that would control how other objects collide with it. Actors can even have, let's say, audio components. So for example, if you go near an actor inside your game, it would make a sound or something like that. So you can have different elements or different components inside a blueprint actor, and you can also give it logic. You can also give it tasks to perform, and then you can make it sort of do different things. So I hope the idea of an actor is a bit better now. But even if you don't understand it fully right now, just keep watching the video, and I hope by the end of this, it's going to become a lot better. So let me just tell you the idea first. So we're going to play the game. We're going to go near a door, and then we're going to essentially just open it by pressing any key on our keyboard, and it's going to work just like that. So that functionality is going to be built inside of blueprints. So let me just just do this.
Mhm.
And so now we're inside this blueprint editor, and as you can see, we have different UI elements. Again, we have a viewport, we have a components list. This is similar to the outliner. So everything that is inside the specific blueprint is going to be listed here, just like your outliner. This area is called my blueprint, and it has different sort of information about your blueprints. It has all your variables. We're going to cover variables in just a bit. It has your graphs, functions, and all that stuff. Don't worry about this too much right now. We're going to go over this in just a bit. And on your right side, we have your you have your details panel, where again it's similar to this details panel. It's going to have information and different properties that you can tweak of any object that you have selected in the component section. And so if I come to my viewport, and up there you can see that we have multiple tabs. So if I go to my event graph is where your actual code is going to be. Most of your code is going to be unless you have different functions and stuff. But we can even close this construction script for now. We don't need that. We just need our event graph. You can see that we have 3 essential nodes here. I'm going to be explaining what these nodes do. The first one is event begin play. This node will be triggered. It's going to run when your game starts. So when you begin playing, when begin play just says right there, this node will just run once and it's not going to run again. This event actor begin overlap is going to run when any other object, for example our character, overlaps with this specific blueprint. So this blueprint is going to be placed in our scene. Once our character overlaps with it, it's going to run this code, whatever code is plugged in front of this. Event tick, on the other hand, runs basically every tick. So every tick is
I was
we have
daydreaming. Damn it.
This details panel is going to have information and different properties that you can tweak of any object that you have selected. In the code is going to be unless you have different. Go to my viewport, and up there you can see that
There we go.
multiple tabs. So if I go to
Yeah.
my event graph is where your actual code is going to be. Most of the code is going to be unless you have different functions and stuff. But we can even close this construction script for now. We don't need that. We just need our event graph. You can see that we have
Okay.
essential nodes here. I'm going to be explaining what these nodes do. The first one is event begin play. This node will be triggered. It's going to run when your game starts. So when you begin playing, when begin play just says right there, this node will just run once and it's not going to run again. This event actor begin overlap is going to run when any other object, for example our character, overlaps with this specific blueprint. So this blueprint is going to be placed in our scene. Once our character overlaps with it, it's going to run this code, whatever code is plugged in front of this. Event tick, on the other hand, runs basically every tick. So every tick is essentially one frame.
On
So if you're
event?
at 30 frames per second, it's going to run 30 frames
Event.
per second. So if you want to, let's say, update
Begin
anything
overlap.
constantly. So for example, if you have a timer in your scene and you want to update your timer every second or every tick, then you can connect your code to this node. What we're going to be using in this, however, is event begin overlap, because obviously when we get close to the door, that's when we are going to open the door. Right? So let's go ahead and go to our viewport first, and let's add some visual elements. So for your visual elements, you can add pretty much anything. You can just go ahead and add a cube if you want. Just search for a cube and add that, or you can add any shape, or you can even get models from Fab. That's what we're going to be doing. So let's go ahead and go to Fab, and let's find ourselves a good door static mesh first. So I'm just going to search for door.
Okay, we're gonna
Go to price.
do a
The price
box
button, I'm just gonna
translation.
And you
Yeah.
can see we have a lot of good options there. So you can pretty much select any door that you want. I think I'm going to go with maybe this one. Handle, I think this looks pretty decent. So we can just add it to project, and just wait for it to do its thing. And then once it is added, we can go back to
Okay.
our project. And if we open this, you're going to see that we're going to have a static mesh, which is the door. Perfect. So we're not going to add it to our scene. We're going to add it to our blueprint. So what we can do is we can go to add, and we're going to say static mesh. We're going to look for the static mesh right there, and we're going to add that. Now for some reason,
Well, in our case, it would be a sprite.
However, if, for example, this door doesn't show up, we can just go to the static mesh property right there, and you can just select any mesh that you want, any static mesh. So that's perfect. Our door is in there. Our door is inside of our blueprint, and now we can write code for this door because we're going to move the door and everything, right? So let's go ahead and compile this, and let's go back to our blueprint folder. And now you can see that our blueprint class basically has that door in the thumbnail as well. And now we can just drag this blueprint class on our scene anywhere we want.
Yeah.
So let's say we add it right there. Okay. And then what we can do is we can maybe create a wall, because obviously because it's a door, we need to add object.
Okay.
If an actual door, you would want it to rotate and stuff. But to keep things simple, I'm just gonna move it. I'm just gonna have the door move up. Okay. Because that's, I mean, obviously not realistic, but we're just gonna move it.
Okay.
So I'm just gonna show you guys how you can build that functionality. So back in our editor, what we
Okay.
have now is a box collision. So essentially the way it works is that obviously this object is in your scene, right? But the thing is,
I guess in 2D we could do the illusion that the door is sliding. We're having like a more or less like side view perspective of it, you know? And then we just move it on a diagonal.
is that this object by default cannot receive any sort of commands. We need a collision object so that when our main character collides with that collision object, then the code is going to be triggered. If that doesn't make any sense, it's perfectly fine. It's going to be clear in just a second. So we can go to add, and I'm just going to search for collision, and we're going to add a box collision to this. So once we add this, we can scale it up like that and move it up as well. So now whenever our actor is going to get within this radius, basically
And this is within the
then door is
viewport.
gonna move up. Okay, we obviously haven't written all the way down to events. And on events, we can see this event called on component begin overlap. So if you just add it, if I just press that plus icon right there, it's going to add this new node. This node is going to be basically
but
this node to begin overlap.
specific to the box.
Specific for the box collision. So
Okay.
we're going to be using this. So you can see that this has a lot of different pins, and all these pins are going to give different sort of outputs. However, to execute code from this or to run code from this, we're going to have to drag off of this pin, which is this larger pin,
Yeah.
which is called the execution pin. So we're going to drag off of this.
Okay.
Call for a node called add.
And what would that be in C++? It's not a function. I mean, I guess each little blueprint is a function by itself, but then that would be a connection to something.
Actor offset.
An import?
Now
No,
we
it's
have
not
this
going to be an
now actor.
import. Yeah. It'll have to create an import. So if that's a function, we're creating another file, a class, which is gonna have its own imports, which one of the inputs is gonna be on component begin overlap box, and then what else?
Local offset. This node basically allows you to move your object in any way you want. So if we
Well, and then you need to call it
the door is going to move up in the z-axis. So that's
whatever
what
we want
Now,
to
if
use
you're
from
wondering,
it.
How did I know that this node existed? There's many different types of nodes in Unreal Engine 5, and the only way you're going to learn about them is either by reading the documentation of Unreal Engine 5 or by just experience and just by watching tutorials, watching courses. You're going to learn about different nodes and you're going to learn about different functionalities. At the start, it's going to seem like magic.
Damn it.
How does this person making the tutorial know about this node? But trust me, as time goes on, as you get more and more experience with Unreal Engine 5, you're going to learn about more and more nodes. But for now, in this course, whatever nodes I'm introducing to you guys, just try to like memorize them and try to like remember them, that they exist, and whenever you want to sort of use them, you can use them. So I can set the z value to 230. And now what's going to happen is if I compile this, make sure to compile your code all the time, because if you don't compile it, it's not going to apply the changes and your code is not going to run. So now if I go ahead and play, and if I go near it, you're going to see that it's going to open. It actually moved way higher for some reason. So we can maybe reduce the value. I'm not sure why it did that, but you get the idea that it actually works. Let's do like 150 or something like that, maybe. And go ahead and play. And if I go you're going to see that it just goes up. Perfect. So now our door opens. So that's how it works. The only problem right now is that when we move away from the door, it doesn't close back. But we want to add that functionality as well. And that's pretty simple. What we can do is we can...
So that's add actor local offset. Yeesh, I would have guessed add actor movement. Well, okay.
Select our viewport, select our box collision, and right under on component begin overlap, we also have
I guess.
end overlap.
Okay. Wait. Let's try something out. Right here, I have an object, right? Class object, and I would like it to move upwards. What is the name of the blueprint I need? Let's see. It's gonna be, what does it need to be? Oh, I forget which one it was.
Box collision.
There is add actor local offset. Okay. Recommended blueprints. Actor blueprint. Common names like BP moving actor. And new blueprint actor. Timeline. LARP. Blueprint. Yes. Wait. And what's blueprints? And in the, how do you call the tab where event graph? Event graph. And within the event graph, I want it to, I want the object to move when something is nearby. Let's see what we get. Well, dudes thinking, searching, thinking, get an answer. To move your actor blueprint upward when something is nearby, use the approach in the event graph. Good. Oh, we didn't mention a graph. Add a collision component box or sphere collision to your actor as a trigger volume. Nice. You see on component begin overlap event from this collision. Wow, you see, that's the thing. You're recommending something different right now. Add actor local offset, and you are recommending this. Optionally affected the overlapping actor to the equal object node or they get play upon. If condition is true, trigger timeline set actor location. Oh, there it is, actor location. That's more like movement, you know, step-by-step blueprint logic outline. Add the sphere component, box component, and proximity, and then we generate overlap events. Event graph on component begin overlap. Oh, right. That's the red blueprint that we got at the beginning, and then a branch condition other actor get play upon. If true, play timeline controls upward movement. What? Timeline track flow curve from 0 to desired height over time. Moving velocity timeline update. Get current location. You recommended to include. Oh wait, what did you recommend it to include actually? Optionally filter the overlapping actor. No comparing other to. If the condition is true, trigger upper movement using timeline with set actor location. You recommended to use timeline or set actor location, but how about add actor local offset? Let's see. Oh, stream. No, I drop fans are in green. That's awesome. Oh, it's a lot of text. Using is also a valid approach to move over the above trigger. Here's how to compare to. Okay, thank you for comparing it. Moves the actor incrementally by a specific offset related to its local size each call. Usually for preferring or prevent incremental movement is to use for smooth movement if called repeatedly. Take your time. Does not require storing or calculating the absolute positions. Moves the actor to an exact world location. Requires you to calculate the new absolute position each time. More precise for teleport-like or non-incremental jumps. Okay. Timeline plus set actor location with LERP. Provides smooth interpolation between start and end. Yeah, because you assign a speed. Okay. Okay. I mean, if when I ask for what could I do or should I do, and it just shows me like the alternatives I have and the pros and cons of each, I'll be awesome. Also, another crazy thing, C++ is supposed to be really complex because it's supposed to be really powerful, but at the same time, you could easily make mistakes because of that. So, for example, as far as I know, the main one is that if you can really precisely manage the storage and the like crumbs C++ leaves. However, in our case, we need to ensure that there are no crumbs because we're just doing a really light and small game. So my question is, do I need to specify it when creating blueprints to erase this and that, or a blueprints doing it automatically, like performance, keeping it, sharp and tidy? I mean, for that we need to dive into the code itself, which we will at some point. But right now, oh gosh, just it's trying to make it's trying to explore. Yeah, we are having trouble with. Okay, so let's try puzzles, moving platforms, modifying the navigation mesh. Okay. I mean, I'm just thinking how would AI work, and I remember watching a tutorial by Cobra Code for 2D AI, and yeah, more or less what blueprints were using there. So that is nice, I guess. And you?
Or something like that, maybe. And go ahead and play. And if I move it up, you can see that it just goes up.
And then you want to add the
What
functionality.
we can do is
Yeah.
we can go back to our viewport, select our box collision, and right under on component begin overlap, we also have on component end overlap. So this is going to be triggered when we are not overlapping this box anymore. So we can just click plus on that. And now what we can do is we can just select this node, copy it, and paste it here to duplicate it basically.
Okay.
And plug this back in. But this time our Z value is going to be minus 150 because we're going to bring it back 150 units. So this node is going to send it up 150 units, and this node, when the overlap ends, is going to send it back. So send it down 150 units. So now if you go ahead and play it, what's going to happen is that it's going to cause an error, and I'll show you guys the error
Update.
first, and then
What the
I'm going to
hell?
the reason for that. So So if I go and go near it, you're going to see that it's going to say infinite loop detected. The reason for this is because what's happening is that the collision box is pretty small, right? So when this door, when the blueprint moves up, it ends the collision with the character, right? Because the character is not tall enough to still be colliding with the door, and then it comes down, and then it goes up, and then it comes down. It's basically an infinite loop. And the reason why that happens is because our collision box is too small. So what we need to do is we need to deselect our collision box like that, still be colliding with the door, and then it comes down, and then it goes up, and then it comes down. It's basically an infinite loop. And the reason why that happens is because our collision box is too small. So what we need to do is we need to deselect our collision box like that, and just increase the scale in the z-axis, something like that, so that even when it goes up, it still is colliding with our character. So that's something important. And I know it's gonna be a little confusing. Honestly, this is a very niche and specific issue, so like don't worry about it. Even if you don't understand it, it's perfectly fine. So now if I go ahead and go near it, you're gonna see it's gonna go up. It doesn't go up as much, so we probably need to increase the offset to 30 and minus.
There's a gene there.
Cool. Now if you go ahead and play it, and you can see it goes up, and then if we move away, it goes back down. So that's how blueprints work. Essentially, you can add functionality to your game. You can
And why was happening that before?
An error, and I'll show you guys the error first, and then I'm going to tell you guys the reason for that. So if I go and go near it, you're going to see that it's going to say infinite loop detected. The reason for this is because what's happening is that the collision box is pretty small, right? So when this door, when the blueprint moves up, it ends the collision with the character, right? Because the character is not tall enough to still be colliding with the door, and then it comes down, and then it goes up, and then it comes down. It's
okay.
The reason why that happens is because our collision box is too small. So what we need to do is we need to
okay.
like that, and just increase the scale in the z-axis, something like that, so that even when it goes up, it still is colliding with our character. So that's something important. And I know it's gonna be a little confusing. Honestly, this is like a very niche and specific issue, so like don't worry about it. Even if you don't understand it, it's perfectly fine. So now if I go ahead and go near it, you're gonna see it's gonna go up. It doesn't go up as much, so we probably need to increase the offset to 30 and minus to 30.
I'm thinking what could use this could be in a game, and we could want to like be a like trigger if the player gets somewhere or at some point, and then you know you need to trigger something when they reach an area or sector. You have like a bit fair.
Another thing that I'm going to show you guys is maybe let's add a cube. And this is also a basic example that is used by a lot of people to teach blueprints. We're going to have a collision box around this, and whenever we enter that collision box, this cube is going to change colors, so we can do that as well. So I'm going to have to create a new blueprint class, actor, and I'm just going to call this cube.
Okay, yeah, sure. Oh, it's an actor, not an object. Damn it.
We're going to add a cube. And once we have our cube, we can also go ahead and add a box collision. So collisions are pretty important in blueprints because for your object to collide with anything, there needs to be a collision box. So just keep that in mind. And scale it up like that. We can set it to be the same size as the cube, or you can maybe make it bigger. I'm gonna make it bigger so that we don't have to like go right next to the cube, and maybe even make it bigger like that, something like that. Should be good. Then we can drag off of this, and we can say set material, and then in parentheses we're gonna select the one which says cube because we're gonna change the material of the cube. So that's that. And once you have this node, you can see that we also have this cube plugged in, so that automatically comes with it because that is the target of this node. So the target of a node means which object of your scene is this node affecting. So this node will affect this cube, if that makes sense. And then we can just select the material. So what we're going to have to do for this is we're going to go and create a new material like that. And I'm just going to call it new material, doesn't matter. We're just going to delete it afterwards anyway. And then what we can do is we can say, just increase the emissive color. So make it bright orange, something like that. And base color, we can also make it orange or yellow. Cool. So that's our material ready, and it's called a new material. Now we can go back to our blueprint editor and just select that material. So new material. Perfect. So now what's going to happen is that if I add this to my viewport, by default, this cube is not going to have that material, this orange emissive material. But if we go close to it, then it's going to have that material. So let's try it to see if it works. Let's go close it. Let's go near it, and you can see that it worked. Perfect. And we can add the same functionality to this new material. Perfect. And you can see that it worked. Perfect. And we can add the same functionality to this as well. We can basically just say, select the box collision, go down.
Widget blueprints.
Okay. Works. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope you guys understand this basic introduction. That we're going to basically add a UI element. So we're going to add a heads up display thing, and it's going to have a number. And then we can, so for example, if you go near a cube or something like that, that number increments. So the reason why we're going to do that is because I'm going to introduce you guys to variables with that. I'm going to introduce you guys to casting. We're going to understand what casting is in blueprints. That is a slightly more advanced concept, but I'm just going to give you guys a basic introduction of it. And I think it's going to be pretty good for you guys to understand how that works. So let me introduce you guys to a different type of blueprint. That is a widget blueprint. So what a widget blueprint is basically it's any UI element that is displayed on top of your game. So I think this also has a UI element. Yeah, like you can see the crosshair, this crosshair right there, and like this ammo and everything like that those are basically widget blueprints. And we're going to be adding our own widget blueprint now. So we can right click anywhere. We can go to user interface, and then we're going to select widget blueprint. So, and then just select user widget, and you can call this whatever you want. I'm just going to call this counter, because basically it's just going to be a number. We're just going to start with 0, and every time we go near this cube, it's going to update. So I just want to show you guys how you can sort of do that. And can just open this counter widget blueprint, and if I make this full screen, you can see that this has a completely different UI. This is more like basically use other thing. Whenever you're making anything inside of this Unreal Engine UI designer, what you need to do is you need to search for canvas,